Hey Junior TOKs, or if you're watching Tiger King, all you cool cats and kittens, I'm just going to give you a short video as to what we're going to be doing for the rest of the semester and also how I can help you and how you can sign up for individual conferences with me. If any kids interrupt this, no big deal, I'm just going to keep rolling. So I attached a slideshow to this video to the latest Google Classroom post, and so we're going to go ahead and use that right now. I'm on slide 56 of the Google slide deck for class. So we're going to do four things. I'm going to reconnect you through the seating chart since Fairfax County canceled our class that would be going on really right now. We're going to deal with the grades, which I know you guys are super concerned about, and then the remainder of the quarter, and then some presentation work, and really not brainstorming, but how the presentations are going to work. So in case you guys didn't know it, here's our class. It's massive. Nolan, Josh, Sanjali, Sahar, Leslie, Viv, Juan Pablo, Dana, Alex, Zamir, KT, and Sai. So I know you guys know each other. Boom, check, we've reconnected. So grades are going to change slightly from what the video I sent out through ManageBack are going to be, because Fairfax County is not allowing any grades in the fourth quarter. You may have already heard this on your Tuesday chats. But you now are going to receive a no mark, and that no mark will not affect your third quarter grade. Now, we understand that there weren't a tons of things in the grade book, and so we're trying to do our best to make sure that you guys have opportunities to raise your grade. You may have heard also that in year-long classes, the highest you can change your grade is 1/3 of a grade point. So that's, say you get a B minus, you can only move it to a B. I believe Mr. Litz is going to allow us to change, or Fairfax County and the Virginia Department of Education is going to allow semester courses to change up to 2/3 of a grade. That means that if you had a B, you can earn up to an A minus, but not an A. And so I have graded all of your PT revisions. We have thrown out the TK-PPD and are only looking at the presentation, which you'll record. And those are the primary elements to raise your grade. If you were already doing well in CAS and EE, then that will just remain the same. It may change that you have no more golden trophy, but your grades will not go down. They cannot go down from your third quarter grade that you see in SIS right now. All grades in SIS for third quarter for us are done. If you want to change your CAS grade, then you just, as the post I put on ManageBack, you just have to try to meet the number of reflections by 24th of April when the quarter ends. But let's look at this specific slide right here. As I said, your revisions are in. We have been talking as a teacher core and a cadre in TOK. Not very many. Less than 1% of students actually raised their grades from a C to an A. And so don't fret if you did not. I do have an example of what a good one looks like, and I will talk to you guys about that in a subsequent video. But your next PT practice is going to be due on the 3rd of May, and I dropped that today. You'll be able to revise that by the 24th of May, so you have plenty of time to work with me or talk to me. The next big thing that you guys are going to do then is the recorded presentation, which you guys are going to record really a month from today. All of your due dates are going to be on Sunday at midnight. You should have access to a bunch of free software, things like Screencast-O-Matic to record it. They do need to be 10 minutes. Nobody in our class has indicated that he or she is going to work with a partner. So again, 10 minutes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys watch those in the following week. And on the 28th of May, E here, 2E, we're going to put you in breakout rooms where you could potentially work through some of your discussion points and kind of help each other figure out what the subsequent ideas are going to be. We'll have a final assignment where you react to your partners, which may or may not affect your grade. We've also greatly changed the grading schema or the mark scheme for the presentation. So what we're calling proficient is a 6 through a 10. The average score for our school is a 6. So if you do a decent job, you're going to be able to earn a proficient, which for this year means that you'll automatically go up 1/3 of a letter grade. Let's say you earn an A on either the final PT or the final PT revision, the prescribed title revision. That's another 1/3 of a bump. So let's say you're at a B right now and you earn a proficient on the final PT and you earn a proficient on the presentation. That means that you would go from a B to a B plus for one and an A minus for the next. So again, if you earn proficients on both the final PT practice and the presentation, then you're going to be able to go up 2/3 of a grade. If you only improve in one, then you'll go up 1/3. And if you don't improve in either, or you earn just an attempt on both, which is our equivalent of a C or lower, then that means that your third quarter grade remains your grade for the year. If that doesn't make sense, I'll explain it again in chat. All right, the remainder of the quarter, what are we doing? And so this first link, 3, is going to take you to our calendar. And in our calendar, you guys can see, if you click here, boom, we have all of our links for Blackboard Collaborate. You and I are meeting on Blue Days, which is Thursday, from 1:30 to 2:15. So we had intended to discuss the presentations on the 16th, but now we'll talk about them on the 23rd. I also have some materials for you there. And then for the following couple days, you'll see it's pretty empty because this is for everybody's, all TOK teachers' work. We're mainly going to be discussing prescribed titles, writing, and the presentations because content is going to be kind of hard to come by. I'd rather you work on what you need to than have some of the higher level discussions, but I will have a content for each of the classes. I know Mr. Hanlon and Mr. Reinish have sent something out to their kids, and so I'm probably going to emulate a lot of what they do since they don't have kids, and I'm going to steal their lessons, if that makes any sense. What I'm also asking that you do, and you can see this in the classroom piece, is to schedule a time with me. It's a little chaotic to have all of you waiting to talk to me, and it's a waste of your time. So I'm allowing you guys to sign up for specific times. If there are documents that you want to show me, your TKPPD Google assignment, then you can hyperlink it here. My wife's trying to get me to look at. Can I look at this again really quickly? I'm sorry. We're fixing something, and that's gray. Mm-hmm. I want that one. Is that the fence or the deck? Deck, definitely. Sorry. And then if you can just tell me if you emailed me or not. If you didn't email me, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we know, and I've confirmed what we're going to talk about, so we're spending 14 minutes together. So I'm going to let this open on Mondays because Mr. Mohan and I talk at night, so that's my faculty meeting day. And then Thursdays, which are dedicated for TOK. That should be Fridays, and I can fix that right now. So Mondays and Fridays is what we're looking at. Apologize. I thought I was ready to go here. Yay, fixed. And so what I'm saying there is that if you want to talk to me, I want to individualize the attention I pay to you, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so then what's going on with the presentation? You guys are split up into 4 groups. Cy, Alex, and Leslie there, and then you can see group 2, group 3, group 4. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to correspond with each other, work with each other, share resources and ideas, but eventually you're going to watch 2 of your classmates' works, and then in a breakout room for approximately 30 minutes. So, 75% of the chat on the 28th of May, you guys are going to discuss each other's presentations. You will have already watched the 10-minute recording. If you do not hand in a TOK presentation, then obviously that's going to affect you for the senior year. You must present by the end of this year, or if you do not, the very beginning of your senior year, or we will have to remove you from the diploma program because that is a requirement for the diploma. So please, record your presentation. If you want, you can do what I'm doing, and you can have slides and just record your voice. Or if you want, you can set up a camera. You do it however you want. You are digital natives. But Mr. Kane was helpful enough to purchase some materials, and we've put them on that resources link. So if you go back, resources to read, this is an absolutely amazing presentation about the TOK presentation. And so it explains everything that you're supposed to be doing. Most of you already have a really strong real life situation. The goal, though, is to move from the real life situation, the real world, to the TOK world. And that ideally means that you guys are working with knowledge issues and knowledge questions. The central knowledge question is the key to this entire piece. I don't mind if you look up and take a knowledge question from some internet site that you find, but please cite it so that we know. But then you're really trying to think about other knowledge questions. So if you think about what we just dealt with the prescribed title, the knowledge question there is how does meaning and purpose affect the way that we view knowledge, or affect our understanding of knowledge? There you can explore through a variety of different things. You guys did art, human sciences, natural sciences, all sorts of cool things. But you're going to move from, Jackson Pollock as an artist or the economies of trade and things like that to other areas. And so those other areas are going to not only link back to your knowledge question, but ultimately show how the knowledge question extends to real life situations. And so this presentation is really strong. You can continue to look at it if you choose to. But what I would really look at is this, and this is an exemplar TOK presentation. This is amazing. Ultimately, this was about a whale who carried her dead calf for 1,000 miles, a very specific specific example, but the concept can move in a variety of different directions. How do our preconceptions help or hinder the production of knowledge? So one of the interpretations is that this whale was exhibiting grief. Grief is a human emotion, and so a scientist pointed out that our attempt to interpret animal behavior is really just a projection of our own, I don't want to say greed, but our own megalomaniacal concepts, our own self-interests. And so here, the person moved from false assumptions, confirmation bias, cherry picking, and the paradigm that it sets to looking at other elements. And so this was shackle and scaffold and ultimately other examples. We showed you the gorilla on the basketball court moonwalking through a bunch of people throwing a ball around and asked you how many times did the ball move. We were so focused on that we forgot about the gorilla. We're so focused on our own intentions that we may forget about the way that our intentions work with others. For instance, when someone comes into the TOK office, I may be in a bad mood and I light up at them. That's not necessarily fair. I have to move past our own shackled concepts or preconceptions in order to think about the other person at hand or the issue at hand. So how can you remove yourself? Many of you do not like when a teacher says, like, well, that's just not correct. Well, I know I'm correct. That teacher's an idiot. That's shackling yourself. Scaffolding is to be able to understand that you need to remove yourself from your own situation. And so here, there's the case of BJ 511, and you can also see that there are notes here. And the notes are wonderful explanations of exactly what, from this TOK subject guide, this person was dealing with. And so the case of BJ 581 is where a Viking warrior was unearthed in, I think, the 19th century. I forget, and all intents and purposes, they looked at it, it had warriors' weaponry, it had shields, defensive armaments, helmets, etc. And so the conception was that it was a man. Well, it turns out that with a little bit more scientific research, it ended up being a woman. So what is that? What is that preconception that a warrior must be a man? How does that jade the way that we look at national tendencies, history, obviously anthropology, etc.? And so here there's a conclusion that is a little bit more broad. This person did not offer an MLA citation, but whatever, there's some URLs. I don't really mind how you do this, just as long as you do. And so in 10 minutes, I didn't even spend 4 or 5 minutes dealing with that. This is a great way to look at an exemplar presentation, and I highly suggest that you do. You can also find filling in the TKPPD, which you have done. Remember, TOK assessors only look at your TKPPD. We do not send your presentation in, so your TKPPD has a word limit, which means that you have to be succinct, but it also should be very clear as to how you're developing and working with the perspectives and elements of knowledge questions and your argument. So that's a quick presentation about what we are doing, what I want you to focus on. Again, if we go back to the very first slide, I want you guys to be able to reconnect, but we have to do so within the parameters that Fairfax County have set forth for us. Grades, as I said, you can go up a third of a letter grade, so a B to a B plus. If you earn a proficient for the writing, you can then earn another third or your first third if you do a proficient work on the presentation. So if you only earn a proficient on one, that's 1/3, a B to a B plus. If you do really well on both, proficient, that means that you can go from a B to an A minus, but no farther. So if you want a full A, your third quarter grade must be a B plus right now. Otherwise, your grade will stay the same if you don't earn proficiency on either of those. I hope you guys are staying safe and staying sane. I am trying to, but it's a little difficult from time to time. So be well, and I really miss you.